Hey everybody. I heard something today that I kind of got tickled about it. Somebody was telling me, or I was talking to them about Walmart and shit, and they had told me that that worked for Walmart, and they had told me that Walmart gets federal funding every year from taxpayers. Now they claim to be a private business, and the reason why I'm telling you this, folks, is I worked for the United States Post Office for about 7 years straight, driving a semi for them, hauling mail. Now, I worked, the truck I drove was a leased on truck to the post office by a guy that I knew that owned the truck. He leased it on with the post office, and we used it to haul the mail. And I wasn't even working, I was not hired directly as a postal employee, but I got the same benefits as them other than insurance. I didn't get their insurances that they got, but I got what they called prevailing wages, which I was paid the same thing as them, and and I had to go through the same background checks and everything as an actual employee would have had to do too. But I was actually a contractor for the post office. Now, I started looking into this, and the reason why the post office always claims, and you can go on Google, I just did it. I went on Google, and it claims the post office doesn't get any federal funding at all, at whatsoever, from the federal government. That all the money they make is off their stamps, and that's how they operate off of it. Well, let me tell you, people, they don't make enough money off of stamps to operate the business that they have. As far as I know, I have never heard of the post office ever making a profit. Ever. Now, these post offices, at one time, the reason why they're called a post office is they were only on base posts. Well, when they spread them out, and that's why you had your, what they call them guys, Pony Express riders and stuff. And they would go from one post to the other post. That's how they did it. That's where the name come from, post office. Well, these post offices that are not on the post uh, still have to be considered federal property because the mail is protected federally. It's they also get, the last time I saw it was like 17 or 18 billion dollars a year from American taxpayers to keep it up and running. That alone will make it a federal property. If it's financed by the government, any business that has government contracts, or they're financed, or they get backing by the government, like the schools, all this stuff, the government has control over you as soon as you start taking money from them. Well, you can go on Google right now, and they claim that the post office isn't even it's not even, their employees aren't even federal employees or anything. That they're just regular people working for a regular company. Now, but the post office is considered public property because it's considered federal land, just like a park, just like a post, but a post, federal land on a base, a military base, you're going to have restricted areas. There's still public areas, but if you go through the gate, you got to show your ID to even go in there. So, but it's still, there's public areas, and it's federal land. You go up here to your state buildings and stuff. It's federal property, and you know, and the people that work in there are federal employees. And so, what I'm saying now is, I started researching. What I wanted to say is, if you're in public, on public property, you can't be asked to leave. If you go into the post office and like there's these guys that do audits, these First Amendment audits, they go in the post office and just standing there recording and not bothering anybody or anything like that. And the post office employees don't like it, so they try to run them off. Well, even the cops have found out. Well, it's federal property. They have the right to be there. It's the First Amendment right to be there videotaping. But these people still try to have them trespass. Well, they can't trespass them from it because it's federal land. It's public property, basically. And you can't be trespassed from public property unless you're committing some kind of a crime or disturbance. If you're in there and you're screaming and yelling and you're blocking people from coming through the doors and stuff, yes, they can remove you for that. But if you're just standing there not bothering nobody, they can't make you leave public property. So, and in the post office, there's secured areas you can't go in because they're secured. But anywhere that the public's allowed to go, you're allowed to go. Now, get back to Walmart. I found out Walmart, I think the post office, they said, was getting like 17 to 18 billion dollars a year, and that makes them a federal property. Well, Walmart gets like, it's almost 10 billion more dollars from the federal government every year, more than the post office gets. Then my question is, why is it that the Walmart takes taxpayers' money and they still claim to be a private owned corporation? Can't be, folks. If they're taking federal taxpayers' money, they just became federal property, and that makes Walmart basically public property, just like the post office, and they cannot run you out of there, or they cannot check your receipts at the door. They don't have the right to make their own rules up. They got to go by federal laws. They got to go by the federal laws. And I'll tell you this, folks, the reason why I know a post office goes by federal laws and it's all federal is because my last day working for the post office, I was escorted off the property by 2 federal marshals after being questioned. Now, I might go into what I was questioned about later, but it's no big deal. But I was, because of my political activist stuff, they were, the post office was, after they found out I was a political activist, they were looking for a reason to get rid of me. And they set me up. But anyway, I walked away unscathed. I just can't work for the post office ever again. But that's why I know I was questioned for about an hour by federal marshals. And they wouldn't have had no authority there if that wasn't federal property. So that makes Walmart federal property for the same reasons as the post office. And if that's true, then these police officers that they have working, these local cops that they have working for Walmart, they don't even have jurisdiction inside Walmart. They can't. They are not federal officers. It would take Homeland Security to come in there and have any authority. Now, these local cops might have some kind of contract or so. I don't know. That's something I'm going to look into. And matter of fact, I know a few of the cops around town. I might even ask them about it. But this is something I've been thinking about, folks, and maybe some of you guys can give me an idea on if I'm right or not. I mean, I don't know yet. I really didn't do the research on it completely. I'm not done with it, but I'm just throwing it out here because I'm interested in what you guys might think. Anybody that can look it up, maybe prove me right or wrong, I'd appreciate it. Leave it in a comment. Appreciate it. I really do. You guys help me. Other than that, everybody, it got cold out here again the last 3 days, and I'm just trying to get through the dang cold. I'm ready for that summer to come. Get out there, drop some lines in the water, do some fishing and stuff. So other than that, I'm doing good right now. Just keep my head up, keep moving. You guys, may God bless us all. Make no mistake, God loves you, and so do I. Good day, folks. Or good night, I mean.